How's it going, YouTube? So in today's video, 2005 Trailblazer, and as I mentioned in the previous video, we are doing pads, rotors, and calipers on the front of this vehicle. The vehicle sat quite extensively before I started driving it recently. It sat for almost 2 years, and my belief is that in that time it had some problems. Now the rotors on the back, they look good. The rotors on the front have gotten heavily grooved, and I was thinking it was because I'd put in a very cheap brake pad. I got a wholesale closeout set of brake pads off Rock Auto, and I thought that's where my issues were coming from on those front tires. Once again, the back looks pretty good. But I had a shop look at it, said it was getting a little warm here when it was being driven or after driven. Thought is calipers hanging up on my passenger side. And once again, with calipers, you replace both at the same time. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. We'll get the car jacked up, get the wheels pulled off, and just run through this real quick. Yeah, I just got my passenger side pulled off, and the inside is gone. The outside still got meat, but once again, it's not worth saving. These were about $10 pads, but the inside is utterly gone. Now, I would like to say that the job where I put these pads on, that video has not came out, so people may call out issues in that previous video when I put these on that were warning signs of this, so be sure to check the comments. However, you know, this is being done before that video airs, so I don't have any feedback on that yet. So for better or for worse, let's be honest, this is for worse. The bolts on the back of this bracket, they aren't moving at all. I cracked a socket, which was a non-impact socket on an impact. I know that's a whole nother situation. And my impact socket is not getting them to move. Even my 6-point impact socket that fits it well is slipping. So there's little ridges. It's not optimal, but they're gonna stay on for now. My new calipers, which came from a salvage yard off a vehicle, that they were good. I used the same trick I used in the last video with the C-clamp, my 1-inch drive. And once again, this C-clamp was for the level kit on my truck, but now that that level kit's on, it's doing a bunch of other stuff. But at this point, I have the passenger side caliper ready to go on. I'm going to throw that on and start putting this side back together. I did just go ahead and compress the caliper for the driver's side since I just did the passenger side. Just because since I got 2 from the junkyard, I might as well. These compress so much easier than the ones that I did a couple weeks ago. The ones that are, well, currently on that side and the one I took off of this side. These, I can like push them in with one finger using this clamp. The other one, I was sitting there and pushing on it, so I'm assuming that the driver's side was the one the shop noted as having issues. I bet the other side's going to have some level of issue also, though. I already had the brake job done on that side. The brake job on this side was extremely simple. I also opted not to replace the rotors because I didn't on that side. I don't want them to be uneven. So I didn't even mess with the bolts on this side. That being said, I probably will spray them with like a PB blaster or something to, in case I have to come back in here and replace those at a later date. Hopefully they'll be a little easier. Both sides spin without any problem, but we now do have to bleed both front sides, starting on the front passenger side, because the calipers have no fluid in them. With that being said, I am going to wait for a second set of hands so somebody can pump the brake for me, and I'll just operate the bleeder valve and do it on both sides. This is a DOT3 vehicle. You can put DOT4 or DOT 5.1 into it. You just cannot go, like if your vehicle's DOT4, don't put DOT3 in. It's a lower boiling point. And do not use DOT5, only 5.1. DOT5, apparently, if there's any rubber in your system and needs replaced, then it's a whole mess. So I'm going to up it to DOT4 because that's what I have sitting around, but just be aware, do not use DOT5. I'll jump back with you once I have the brakes bled and the car ready to go. Got a second set of hands out here. Went ahead and bled both sides, starting on the passenger side because it's further from the reservoir. Bled that out and then came over to this side and bled this one out. everything feels good as far as that goes. Made sure that this did not run dry on the brake fluid reservoir, and then also at the end that it was topped up and good to go. I went ahead and threw my wheels back on, and what the mechanic before noticed was that this wheel was hard to spin even when the brake wasn't on, which was, I was thinking it might have just been the crappy brake pads, but no, definitely a locked caliper on that side. This side never really had the problem. Well, it's actually partway on the ground now, so that's why that's going on. But this one also spins very easy when it's jacked up. I don't think I showed, but the brake tire or the brake pads off of the driver's side were definitely not the best condition either, but they weren't quite as bad. That being said, we'll go ahead and drop this down and take it for a quick test drive. Got back from the test drive, cleaned up the tools. Car feels great. There is no heat going on, or not much, no more than normal. Where before, specifically this one, got fairly warm in here. Last time I took the car for a test drive, they stopped better, they didn't screech, but it also almost felt like they were hanging up slightly, which after having the mechanic look at it, that's definitely what was happening. Now it just free rolls how it's supposed to. So, kind of a downside that I did not get to replace my rotors, but they're also not horrible from what I was looking at. And it's now a safe car, because with the brakes having the issues, if that one would have locked up, it would have been a serious pain, would have had to tow it, could have caused problems depending on what I was doing when it locked up fully. So thank you for coming along on this process. Another video down, another job done. And as always, leave your comments down below. Please like the video if it was beneficial. Recommend ways I can do better. And as always, please subscribe, because I'm trying to grow this channel, trying to do more stuff. And the best way to do that is to beat the algorithm. So thank you, and until next time.